Tour Junkies.
What's going on, everybody? DB here, and it's an exciting episode of the Tour Junkies. You know, it's the swing season. It's the fall. It's time to just get weird. You know what I mean? I mean, we don't have golf to talk about right now, but we're gonna talk golf with our buddy Mr. Travis Miller of PGA Memes. It is the famous man behind the PGA Memes Instagram account. If you're not following at PGA Memes, I don't know what you're doing because 300 and how many, like 70,000 are following now, Travis? What's up, dude?
Something like that. Glad to be here, guys. I'm excited.
And for whatever reason, I see two Travises and no Pats. Is Pat there? Pat, are you there?
I am here. Yeah, I'm here. Just hanging out.
Oh, there you are. You're popping up now. Every now and then when you disappear, we might just have to go like, caw, caw, just something. Pat, you're looking like Kirby Smart tonight. Can you lean into the frame a little bit, buddy? You're like, there we go.
Everybody wants a couple Pats, though, in their life, right?
You want me? Yeah, exactly. You want me that close to the? Nobody wants me that close to the camera.
I didn't want you close. I don't want you closer. I wanted you centered. You know what I mean? We're already off to.
Well, I like to relax.
Well, then move your camera so I can see your face.
This is like you said. Here's the thing. We're going off a tangent. I'm going to do this immediately. We get 2 weeks off. There's 52 weeks in a year. 52 weeks in a year. And we literally are doing something for 50 weeks. Yet David can't sit his ass still for 2 weeks to not do anything. Now, Travis, I'm happy to have you on. I love doing this.
Sounds like
this is going to be fun. But we can't get a break because that dude can't sit still for more than 3 days and get a break.
We're going to give you a hall pass, then you can relax and kind of lay back in your chair tonight.
That's why I'm laying back in my chair because this is fun for me. I'm just like I'm trying to relax and have a conversation. You know, that's all I'm about.
Well, yeah, but you know what, Travis? He's had plenty of hall passes this week or this year. He had to take. Listen to how snowflake Pat's getting. It used to be in the first 3 years of the Tour Junkies podcast, we would take 1 week off each a year when there was a tournament going on. We'd get a fill-in guest.
There weren't that many events. There weren't as many events.
Yeah, there were like 4 less events. But this year, Pat and his snowflake self, he had to take an emotional break. He didn't go on vacation. He had to just take an emotional break and check out. So yours truly
Proud
had
of that.
Anyway, we're not here to do this. We do this all the time. Travis, we're here to talk about you. Tell the people a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the PGA Memes Instagram account, specifically how it got started and the moment that it blew up. I'm kind of interested in seeing that.
Yeah, so I am just your average golfer. I pretty much suck at golf. I have my moments of greatness on the course, just like us all, but I usually shoot like in the low 80s. Sometimes I shoot high 90s, just, so not a great golfer, but like to have fun on the course. And, just like all of us, right? And then I just, I work in sales and business development, and golf just became kind of a big hobby for me. I started golfing a ton for work. And I started a little side hustle called Hiss a Lot, selling fake rattlesnakes, and it just kind of blew up. The page got to 20,000 within like a couple of months, and I was on the Golf Channel, and it was really cool. Like NBA players, NFL players were reaching out wanting to get the snake and prank their buddies, and it just like brought more fun to the game. And I've always loved meme pages. I'll just sit sometimes after a long day and just zone out and look at memes and laugh as they relate to my life or just different things that are funny or frustrate me. And I just realized, I'm like, man, there's a big void in golf right now. There's really not like a good like parody or meme page in golf that challenges the players, makes fun of some of the different manufacturers or different things that are going on in golf. You see that in NFL, you see that in NBA, but golf, you referenced Pat being a snowflake earlier. Listen, golf is full of freaking snowflakes. People are just really comfortable.
Yes,
They don't like to be challenged. They like to be prim and proper. So, for me, I just started the page and I just started posting stuff about some of the players I didn't like, some of the things that I thought weren't very popular with the public opinion, and kind of pushing buttons, and it just blew up. And so I guess the moment you would say that the page just blew up was in your guys' backyard. So at Augusta, when Patrick Reed won the Masters a couple of years ago. Listen, I was at Hazeltine. I think you guys were at Hazeltine too,
we
weren't
were.
you, for the Radical?
We were,
Okay.
yeah.
Dude, I'm decked out in red, white, and blue. I'm P. Reed's like biggest fan. That guy was just on fire that week, right?
Yeah.
And I just, rooting for the guy, but just watching the Masters, I'm a big Ricky guy, which we'll get into Ricky later, I think, in some of the hot takes. But listen, I wanted Ricky to win, and that flag stick on 17 saved Patrick Reed's life, and it was just frustrating. And you could see it in the whole crowd there. Like, no one was really that thrilled with him winning the Masters. So I just started posting some funny stuff, man, of Patrick Reed winning and people not being too happy about it. And the page just blew up. I mean, there was tons of controversy in the comments. The followers were just pouring in, and next thing I knew, I was just Golf Digest was featuring me, and almost 100,000 within a few months. So it was pretty cool.
Wow.
So it's just funny to see, my personality just fit the mold of this page, and people have kind of been receptive to it, and it's just continued to grow. So,
Can I ask a stupid question?
sure.
What would be unlike any other podcast, Pat?
I mean, because I'm coming from the layman's term, man. Explain exactly what a meme is.
Man, that's a good question. Listen, I'm not a young guy either, so like when I heard meme for the first time, I'm like, what really is this? But it's just you have a depiction you have a picture that you can make anything out of. I mean, you've heard the old saying, like, a picture's worth 1,000 words or 1,000,000 words. You can look at a picture or a video now and just say, like, all right, I can turn this into any type of meme and say whatever it is I want about it. So I guess I don't know, like, the perfect textbook definition of what a meme is, but it's just really making a picture or a funny moment, whatever you want out of it. And listen, there's a lot of memes that I'll make where people just don't understand it, and then there's a small select few that do. And what I try my best to do is just not explain myself. Like, if it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. But for the most part, they've been pretty good.
Let it take a life of its own, whatever it is. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Pat,
Well,
Wikipedia.
and I'll do stuff sometimes too, and I'm like, I do stuff sometimes where I'm like, hey, this is great. It's gonna be hilarious. And it strikes out.
And it bombs.
But in the comments section, my followers are just complete savages. I mean, they'll write some of the funniest stuff, and I'm like, man, if I would have just polled my audience, I could have used that. It would have went viral, So you learn, though, and you use it for future content. So,
Pat, Wikipedia says a meme is an idea, behavior, or style that spreads from person to person within a culture, often within the aim of conveying a particular phenomenon, theme, or meaning represented by the meme. I don't really think that helps at all.
I think anybody that might tune in for the first time, or they're golf fans and they're wondering what a meme actually is, I just asked the question just for that purpose, just to know. But I think it is what it is. You interpret it. I mean, it's like what Travis puts out there on the site. I mean, you're going to interpret it in a lot of different ways, and whether it's funny or not, or whether you hate it or not. I mean, I'm sure you get a lot of hate comments and stuff like that. So that's the best thing about it, actually.
I think a more important question to start off with is something that I regret that we've skipped, and that is the podcast juice for the night. I want to get our guest. We need to see what the podcast juice is tonight, Travis, if you'll share with us what you've got.
The podcast juice. All right. Well, I'm just drinking straight Crown Royal, so on the rocks.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. I'm okay with that.
That's aggressive. I like that.
Yeah, I'm already I'm 2 in already too.
You're ahead of me. I had to.
Yeah.
I am drinking. I'm going with our Aaron Fleener special. This is some Casamigos and some soda and a little lime.
I got a little vodka club in here, which is it's a short glass. I feel like I'm probably gonna have to leave in a second and re-up.
I think I will too, actually. We do have a couple of listeners watching live on YouTube. Our boy Josh Kistler, who's always in for some good comments, says that your pod juice, Travis, has also got hints of shame and self-loathing in it, possibly. So good stuff there.
It's not wrong.
So all right, so that's kind of how the page got started. The juicy stuff we want to get into. I want to know any stories you have, because, like, our account, I mean, our Twitter account is only like 16,000 people, and we're up to 9,000 on Instagram. We're almost at the swipe up level, but I mean, it was like clockwork when we hit 10,000 followers on Twitter. We started getting trolls. So, have you had anybody? Have you got into it with anyone in your that's maybe slid in your DMs, or a player, a personality, any stories like that you can share with the group that hasn't taken your jokes too kindly?
Yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few, as you can
Oh,
imagine.
good.
As far as like people who are just, your general public, there's some people who definitely have a displeasure with some of the the parody of the page and some of the tastefulness of some of the posts. Some of them have sexual innuendos that people get confused that I'm part of the PGA, right? So you get some like 50-year-old women who are following it and they're like, "This is a family page," and I'm like, actually, it's far from it, right? Like, so
family
you,
page.
you get some of that, right?
Oh,
And then you get
jeez.
people who are like, "Why do you make fun of, Jordan Spieth? Like, he's such a good guy," and da da da, and I'm like, listen, everybody's a target. Like, I actually like Jordan Spieth, and I like some of these guys, but when you play bad, like, I've got to make a joke about it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that, but as far as the players go, man, I've had some pretty good run-ins, specifically with Smiley.
Oh,
I
Smiley, huh?
actually, I'm actually a Smiley fan. I like Smiley. He's a good guy from what I've heard. I've heard a couple stories. Like, so there's obviously people who will come to me and be like, "Oh, I'm so glad you make fun of this guy because this happened in real life," and there's always two sides to every story. But
Yeah.
Smiley took a lot of displeasure to me making jokes about his bad play, and he had an injury with his wrist. Whether that was real or not, I don't know what his injury was or the extent of it. But at the end of the day, he was playing very poorly, and he's fighting for his life out there on tour. And I understand how hard it is. Believe me, like, I can't even imagine making it to the tour, or let alone
Yeah.
being competitive or keeping your card right. So I'm sure it was tough. But he commented on a few of my first jokes, and what you find is if you comment positively to the joke, man, everybody has open arms towards you. Like, I've made fun of Michelle Wie, Bryson. I mean, the list goes on. And if they jump on and love the joke and play along with it, everyone's like, "Oh man, you're awesome. That's so cool that you responded. Like, good for
Yeah.
you." And everyone kind of lays off, including me, because I'm like,
Yeah.
"Wow, this person's cool. Like, I don't want to make fun of them anymore, so I've got to tread a little lightly." Well, with him, he started just coming in hot, right? Like, just like, "Oh yeah, real funny joke. Like, you're probably sitting on your couch doing this and that." And I'm like, "Okay, dude." Like, so I make a few more, and then he blocks me. And then when he blocked me, I kind of just thought, "Hey, gloves off. Like, I've got 100 ideas of what I could joke about this guy." And I mean, it wasn't hundreds, but I made maybe half a dozen posts of him. And finally, one night, I swear the guy was probably like 24 pack of Natty Light deep, and he just goes into my DMs, just railing on me, man. He's like, "Do you know how many times I get tagged a day, PGA memes? Do you know how many times
Oh.
your stuff gets forwarded to me?" He's like, "You need to stop," and like, "This is bull crap," and just going off, dude. And I'm like, "Listen, I apologize. Like, I'll lay low. Good luck. There's no one who wants you to win more than myself, so go get it." And I laid low for probably like 8 months or so, and then I had to pick it back up. That's what the golf community wanted, at least my followers. And so I made a few more Smiley jokes, and he hasn't been too big of a fan. So Holly Sanders is another one that absolutely hates me. She's come
Holly,
at
huh?
me.
The
Yeah.
former Golf Channel girl. Where is she at now? Fox Sports or Pornhub, or where's she at?
Probably, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Oh, we woke Pat up.
So
Travis, we woke Pat up. Hey, Pat. Welcome to the
it's like,
podcast.
yes. Welcome,
Yeah.
Pat.
Yeah,
So like, I made a couple of her that were funny. Like, I had, Holly 2016, which was the girl next door golf channel,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
you had like Holly 2017, slowly changing 18, and then on 19 I photoshopped Michael Jackson's face on her. Like, so that was amazing, right? And then
yeah.
she wrote me, just because everyone's tagging her in it, obviously. So she goes in there and starts commenting, and there were a lot of women golfers that were commenting, and she just went off like, this is so bad. Us women should stick together, and blah blah blah. And so I just kind of laid low on that one for a while, and then I posted one here recently of a Photoshop. It was a volleyball player with like a flat butt, and then it was like another one with a bubble butt, and then a big butt, and then a monster butt. And so I just did the same thing, like Holly Saunders every year, which that one I didn't think was as bad. I mean, you can interpret it however you want. Surgery, or she's doing a lot of squats. I don't know. But at the end of the day, she just got pissed. She's like, "You coward, mother effer," and blah blah blah, just coming at me. And I said, "Listen, I didn't even think this was bad, but I'll take it down. I won't ever freaking make a joke about you again. Like, whatever, you know." Because the one thing I don't want to have happen is like take a joke too far and then my page gets taken down or something stupid from somebody, you know. And that can happen, unfortunately. But whatever.
Whatever happened to just a sense of humor? Like being able to.
Pat, hold on. You know that if it were you, if he were going at you like you've done this to me. Like if we have enough people watching right now, they can testify. If I come at you repeatedly in a short burst, you flip your lid. You know you would.
Well, everybody does that when they feel ganged up. I mean, that's just how anybody's personality would do. But still, like when you step back and look at it, maybe a few days later, you could say like, "Well, that was actually pretty funny. I can relate to that, or I can get that." I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, look, and I'm not like hating on Holly Saunders or whatever. I mean, I just think it's just kind of funny that she would like want you to shut it down.
No, I don't know. I mean, like with Smiley, I can see it. Like, man, he's probably just frustrated, and don't get me
he's
wrong.
grinding, man. Yeah.
He's grinding, and I understand, like, that's he's trying to make a living, and I get it. Like, everyone's probably, like, every time he posts something on his page, I get tagged in it, you know, and I'm sure he just hates that. And so I get that. I don't want bad things to happen like that. I'm not encouraging that to happen, but with Holly, like, listen, you got, like, 17 surgeries, and you look completely different than you did 4 years ago. Like, you brought that on yourself. Like, the Kardashians get made fun of all the time. You know, a lot of people in Hollywood get made fun of all the time for doing that same thing. You brought it on yourself. Like with Smiley, man, he lost his game. Like that's a just completely different story. So I don't know. I don't have as much sympathy for it, but you never know. So I'm just going to tread lightly and just do what I do. So
we're getting some great listener comments right now on the YouTube live. Marcus, our boy Marcus Miklovich went to check Pornhub when we mentioned the Holly Saunders pictures, but he said Pat's voice in the background is really killing the vibe for Pornhub at the moment.
Sorry,
I mean, Travis, like,
we're not a porn channel, Marcus.
Would you consider, with all due respect, Travis, are you an asshole in real life? Like, do you think there's, you know what I mean? Like, are you this way in real life? Like, do you jab on people? Do you kind of pick on people? Are you known at work as kind of that guy, or is this like an alter ego on Instagram?
No, I mean, I think that I'm quick-witted, you know. So if I'm on the golf course, like, we can easily have a lot of fun and banter. And believe me, I mean, I'm take it as every much as I can dish it. I'm not, like I said earlier in the show, I'm not a great golfer. Yeah, I mean, I'm quick-witted. I like to joke around. But yeah, I've got a little bit of a twisted sense of humor, I guess, that I don't really portray in my regular everyday career or life, that I can kind of use these memes as an outlet, you know. And I get a lot of ideas and influence from different, you know, either meme pages or parody pages and stuff out there that I see, or just everyday jokes that, you know, that I'm like, hey, I can incorporate that into a golf joke or a golf meme or a golf player. Just take it that next step, and I probably push it sometimes a little too far, just because I know that that's what makes the page go. You can tell if I really push the needle sometimes on something, you know, that post can get shared 30,000 times and the page can just blow up. But if I just do a simple just snowflake post, you know, it gets a lot of ha-has and you know, a lot of likes and stuff, but it's not really moving the needle. And so it's just kind of fun to see, you know, how far you kind of push the boundaries with being as respectful as you can, you know. And I think, you know, I think rewind maybe 12 months ago, I was probably pushing it a little too far with a lot of stuff. And so I've tried to reel it in as the page has got a little bigger. There's a lot more eyes on it. You know, I understand I should keep it respectful and not do anything that's going to be disrespectful to family or to the individual themselves. Just try to keep it as clean as I can. So with it still being fun and interesting. So
Pat, you look like you got something coming out of your brain right now. What you got? You got some.
You're asking that question. Like my immediate response was, David, do you think you're an asshole on the podcast in general?
Said with all due respect.
Is that with all due respect? Is that your normal reality for you, David, being an asshole, or is that are you just putting on a show, David?
I mean, I don't know how self-aware Travis is. I'm not really sure. But
hey, listen, I'll tell you a quick story real quick. So the Page Country Club collection?
No.
Okay, so he follows the tour players. He goes to all the events and shoots a lot of stuff behind the ropes. And he did not like one of my posts. It was the Masters leading up to this year. I made a meme about Patrick Reed's Masters menu being leaked, and it was a McDonald's theme. And at the bottom, I put hosted by Patrick Reed. That's not, that's mean. And
people call him that all the time.
Yeah, but anyways, what was really funny was Golf Digest released something just a few hours later of something Patrick said about his menu, and it was like, it wasn't McDonald's, but it was like, he said something like, "I'm gonna feed these boys and get them, fat or something." So I was like, "Oh, this is great." Well, Tanya Tari she's a trick shot girl. She posted, she commented on that.
We played golf with her before.
Oh, you did? She's awesome. She commented something on there like, "Oh, I'd love this dinner," or something like that. It wasn't anything bad. And he storied my post, tagged her and all of her sponsors in it, and was just like, "I can't believe you'd represent," and we kind of had at it just for a minute. And then he ended up blocking me, right? And I was just like, I had this feud with him, and I never even knew who he was. And then last night we linked up, and I was at a dinner with a group of people, and he was there. And a mutual friend.
Last night?
Last night. And so last night, our mutual friend had him unblock me, and we started following each other. And we actually sat next to each other at dinner and had a great conversation. He's an awesome guy. He's actually going to be moving to the town next to me. So listen, who I am online is not who I am in real life, but I definitely can push the boundaries a little bit with.
We can certainly relate to that.
Yeah. What about players that follow you that you talk about people getting in there and players and other golf personalities commenting and being good sports about it? Who are some guys that have been good sports about it, who comment, who engage with you, who follow you, that you're kind of like, "Oh, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. These guys follow us."
Yeah, I mean, Shane Lowry was a cool one. He's been a follower for a long time, and he was loving all the posts around the Open, right? And it's cool to say "Oh, the champion golfer of the world." You're not texting them, but you're going back and forth in the DMs, direct line. It's dude, this is cool, and he's just a genuinely cool guy. How cool would it have been to be in Ireland with him drinking freaking Guinness and partying, right? He just seems like a great guy.
100%.
I know you're number one fan of Bryson DeChambeau, but he definitely interacts probably more than anyone.
Really?
Privately and on the page. He's been very active. Michelle Wee's awesome on the LPGA. There's tons of girls in the LPGA that are awesome. They're very active on the page. And unfortunately, there's not a lot that you can meme or joke about on the LPGA Tour. I'd like to do more of that, but it's just not. It doesn't call for as much, right? So, but I mean, there's a lot of them. Scott Stallings is on there all the time. He's a great guy. Abraham Answer.
He's a good dude.
I mean, the list goes on. There's a lot of good golfers. There's the few at the top that are elite that have showed little to zero acknowledgement of the page. And I don't know if they're just never on social media, or they hate me, or they just don't want to be associated with the page. I don't know what the situation is, but they've just kind of steered clear of it.
Are there any people that you're scared to make fun of, or refuse to make fun of on the page?
No, because I mean, I love Tiger Woods as a lot of people do, obviously, and I'll make fun of Tiger, and I get a lot of hate for that. Oh, you can't make fun of the GOAT, and da 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 da, and it's listen, I have to make fun of everybody. It's an even playing field. I know there's like a lot of Patrick Reed jokes and stuff, and that's all great, but like you got to make fun of everybody. And so, and listen, you can make fun of Tiger a ton. All the injuries, obviously he's had some serious injuries, but there's also kind of the banter of when he plays bad, he withdraws or something happens, or he's got his off the court issue or off the field issues and stuff. But pretty much everybody is on limits. I'm definitely afraid of Krista Glover. I think she's a little scary.
Yeah.
But I've made a few jokes about her, and I have a story actually. So I went to the U.S. Open this year with a group of people, and we were there with Lexus, and we were a little naive as far as in regards to where we should enter, and we went to this like main Lexus entrance, and as soon as we get there, I realized this isn't where we should enter because all the player cars are there with the numbers on it. So I'm like, let's just go up there, right? So there's a really nice guy there. It's like, listen, what's your names? We give him our IDs. He's like, I can see you're on the list, but this isn't where you should enter. He goes, but it's all the way on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'll give you grounds passes. You have to walk through here and go to will call, and then that's where your Lexus hospitality tickets are or whatever. So we're like, all right. So we didn't really realize what we were getting, right? But we walk through this entrance, and it's literally player hospitality. There's like the where the players are eating, the player locker room, everything. So we're sitting there, and like all the pros are walking by, and we're just like, dude, there's no security here. There's nothing. This is insane. Like, I'm like, I don't even want to go to the tournament. I just want to sit here and just like see who we can see. Like, I'm sitting here next to Fluff while he's just like lighting up darts, like just, hey, like, this is awesome. And so we end up going to the tournament, and we got to come back through the same area that day. And as we're there, we stuck around for about 30 minutes just to kind of see who was there. And a lot of people were super cool. Some people were just complete assholes to us. And like Patrick Cantlay was the biggest dick to me. Like, I actually went up to him and said congratulations, because he had just won, I think, the week prior, and he looked at me like I asked him to borrow $10. Like, he was such a jerk. And I was like, all right. But I've heard he's a cool dude, though. So you kind of just catch people at the wrong time, I guess. Yeah. But Krista Glover walks up, and I'm about 100 yards away from her. And of course, at this point, I've showed my face like a couple times, so not many. But she's looking at me like she's gonna cut my head off, and like the people with me realize it, and I'm like, does she know who I am? And like they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, get your phone out, because I was like, if she confronts me, we need to video this. This will be really funny. And she's walking towards me, and just like, I don't think her eyes were locked onto mine, like she was coming right at me. And she got about 10 feet away and then made a left turn into the player tent. And like, I don't know, it just freaked me out, but like that chick scares me. So I mean, I've made a few jokes about her, but I kind of tread lightly, if you will.
Oof, dude.
Yeah.
You got to keep your head on a swivel out there when
out in the streets on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, when Chris is out there. Have you ever met any of the obviously you met Patrick Cantlay there, but like, are there any other players you've met that knew you were PGA Memes? You talked to them, you hung out with them, have you played golf with any of them or anything?
So no tour players. I've never played with a tour player, but the only player that I've met like that they knew I was PGA Memes was Kevin Na at the Masters. I was going back and forth with Kenny that morning, and he's like, hey, come to the putting green and call me out and let's chat, So I went up there and I chatted with him for a little bit, and so he went back out to the practice green, and then Kevin came over a minute later, and he was like, wait, you're PGA Memes? And it was really cool because we sat there and talked for like 10 minutes, and he was just asking me a bunch of questions, and he was just down to earth, cool guy. That was the first player that I actually met that knew who I was. And then I went to the Colonial a couple months later, and I actually worked with the Charles Schwab Challenge to help them with some of the stuff, and got to meet a few guys. But
that's cool.
I really haven't I don't know, like I just kind of recently started showing my face more. I did meet Jason Day at the U.S. Open. He was one of the few guys that talked during the Lexus. They had like different players and different ex-players come in and talk every few hours. Of course, like Johnny Miller was there talking about his 63 at Oakmont, and you had Wesley Bryan was there. I met him and chatted with him for a little bit, and then Jason was there. And Jason's a cool dude. I actually met him before a while back, and I got a signed flag from him when he won at Whistling Straits. But I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm PGA Memes," and he just was like, "Dude, no way!" Like, because I knew that I knew he liked the page. His wife follows it, and she like will write me messages every now and then. But Ollie, the guy who runs TaylorMade social media, he always will text me and tell me like what player really liked a post and was talking about it and stuff. And he brought up that Jason Day was really loving my page, and so when I brought it up, he was like the coolest dude. He's like, "Dude, roast me as much as possible." He's like, "Make fun of me." He goes,
That's
"No matter
cool.
what." He goes, "I'm very thick-skinned." He's like, "Bring it on." And I mean, the problem with him is he's hard to make fun of, though, right? There's not a lot.
Is he though? I mean, he's constantly got a boo-boo or some kind of infection that is getting him out of tournaments.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's definitely got some he's injury plagued, but I mean, he's one of the more
dramatic.
difficult.
He's pretty dramatic, dude. He's like a. Yeah.
I used him. So remember when it came back out a couple years ago? I photoshopped him when he had vertigo at Chambers Bay, and I made him be the guy that was sliding into the gutter. So no one could tell that was him, but it was a perfect because it's hard to find a golfer like laying down that I can put sliding into the gutter.
Yeah.
But Jason Day definitely.
Yeah, but he did it for you.
How do you explain for older people like Pat how you monetize this? You don't have to go into like tremendous detail, but how do you monetize, and at what point do you think on Instagram you can monetize stuff like this?
I mean, I guess you can monetize it at any level, right? Because it's all scalable. But for me, I do spend an enormous amount of time doing what I do. So it definitely needs to make sense. So I wanted to try to monetize it, but do it the right way. And so my mentality is that I'd like for it to be a win-win-win. I want it to be a win for the company that's trying to promote something that they want to sell or build awareness of. I'd like it to be a win for me, so I can maybe make some dollars to help pay the bills. And then I also want it to be a win for like the followers, to make sure it's something that they're going to want to see, something that they can benefit from. So what I do a lot is like I do a lot of giveaways that can promote a different page that I think is a cool page or has a cool product, and they'll promote something to give away. And so obviously the chances of winning it, I guess, are getting smaller and smaller as the page grows. But it's something in a way to give back to followers, and it's been really cool to see like someone get a new driver or a new set of irons from Cobra, or even like a rangefinder or something like that. Just something that they can get. And we do it randomly, but it's fun to see people win that just never thought in a million years they could win. And so that's a one way that's creative for me to help a company promote themselves, but do it in a way where it's giving back. But I'm definitely trying, as 2020 approaches, I'm trying to work with just, bigger brands to where I can do, less of that stuff, to just focus more on the page and let it continue to grow and go from there. But I think you'll see more and more of different things come on the page. Like I'm going to launch a series here in the fall that's going to be really cool. My face will be more on the page. I'll be launching it actually on YouTube, so I'll be doing a lot of trailers and stuff on Instagram, pushing people to YouTube. But it'll be fun to where it incorporates a lot of pro golfers, some celebrities, and just different faces and stuff on Instagram. But it just kind of will showcase a little bit of my personality, and I don't know, it's just not your typical questions that you would maybe hear from some of these people who are giving interviews. Just bring a little bit more fun to it. So
let us know if you need a couple extra A-listers. Me and Pat could make ourselves available.
Absolutely.
For sure. Pat looks like he's ready to go right now. Pat, you good?
No, I'm good. I was just listening to the insight.
So, all right, let's wrap up with. Since you're pretty in the know on the tour. First of all, I want to ask: do you have any questions for us, or any hot takes that you'd like to share?
Yes. I would like to hear it.
You want to hear the hot takes?
Yeah.
Well, how about questions first? So,
Okay,
DB,
let's
so
do
you
that.
used to caddy at Augusta National?
I did. Pat's gonna love this part. Yes, I
God,
did.
we hear this. I've heard this story 100 times.
So
2
how did you
year-
get that gig? That happened.
It's very easy, actually. Shockingly easy. I had a former manager at a restaurant that I used to work at who was best friends with the caddy master. He told me to go apply. I was like, I can do that. And he's like, yep. So I go and apply. I take a test that if you've driven by a golf course, you could pass. And then they liked me and they took me out to a green reading session one evening after work.
Wait, you had to have like a green reading test?
It wasn't a test. Like I literally just followed a caddy that'd been there 3 decades. I followed him around and like talked about green reading like for 45 minutes after work one day, and then I had to go caddy 9 holes for a caddy master at another golf course in Augusta. And as long as I didn't screw the pooch on that, then I got the job. It was actually pretty easy. It's kind of stupid.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
That's
didn't
awesome.
actually realize there was that much involved. I thought it was just like, hey, did you pass a drug test?
No, actually, a drug test may have eliminated a lot of caddies. Honestly, I don't know that a drug test would.
So no drug test. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go to Bandon at least once a year, and all those guys definitely love their Mary J. Like they're always out there smoking, having a good time.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So you guys have been. How long have you guys been doing the show for? How long have you been at it for?
Almost 4 painstakingly long years. Yeah. Well, technically, we had the idea in like May of 2015.
15.
Started working on it then, and we practiced. Like nowadays, like everybody and their mother just has an idea for a podcast, and so they just start it. But we weren't like that, you know. Like we were like, hey, we want this thing to be good, so we practiced it for a long time. But our first published episode was like late September 2015. So we're coming up on 4 years since we went public.
Yeah, nice.
Pat, I'll let you answer the next question.
So what's the coolest opportunity that, since you've been doing the show, what's the coolest opportunity that's presented itself?
Oh, wow, because there's a few. I mean, I would say, well, we've gotten to talk to a lot of players that I never thought we would ever talk to. I mean, you look at the interviews that we've done, whether it's, Kiz, who was early on, to Tony Finau, to Brooks Koepka, who hung up on us and never called us back during an interview.
That was early in the days. That was real early in the days.
So Brooks Koepka was very early days.
We had technology problems.
We had technology problems. We actually did it from a church, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah.
It was a church, and
because we didn't have reliable Wi-Fi where we were.
Yeah, the church, neither did the church apparently.
Yeah, that's true.
It was like a mega church, and so we got cut off like 5 times from Brooks during the middle of the interview, and so he just cut it off and never called us back. So that was kind of interesting. But I think for us, the best opportunities we've had has definitely been Ryder Cups. I mean, from the first one we went to at Hazeltine, which was just the best experience ever, to last year being able to go to Paris and take our families, our wives, and do all of that. I mean, it was, regardless of the loss, Paris was awesome for us. But but I think it's just the people you meet. I mean, that's the biggest thing for us, which has been really cool. Is just you get to talk to people and text with people that I never would think would be in my phone. And I'm not trying to drop names, but it just is what it is. I mean, we got some pretty cool people that we get to talk to from a week to week basis. So that's definitely something I would say has been pretty cool. David, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I'm laughing at Bill Brower on YouTube said Pat needs a shirt that says Tour Junkies. I think that's a great idea.
That's awesome.
If anybody wants my opinion on the whole YouTube thing, I say F it. I hate it. Fucking hate it. Anyway. Go ahead. Next
all right,
next question.
let's wrap up with some hot takes. I want to know, Travis, just what do you think, like, in regards to golf, guys on the PGA Tour, players, the state of the game? You can pick from any of that, but just throw out a couple of takes that you may have, given your experience with some of these guys and watching the tour as closely as you do.
I mean, it's kind of at a really good time, I think. I mean, it's making my life easier with creating content. You've got a lot of these guys who you kind of love to hate. I mean, you've got the Patrick Reeds of the world where you kind of, you root against him during the regular season, but we're all going to love him during the President's Cup. We're all going to love him during, assuming he gets picked. You're going to love him at the Ryder Cup. He's just,
He'll get picked.
He's a competitor.
He'll get
picked. Yeah, he's gritty. He's a competitor. Brooks, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Brooks. Like, he's an ultimate competitor. He's a great player, obviously, but he's just very vanilla. Like, I just don't really feel like when he's in the lead, I'm not sitting here enjoying it, right? At least that's my opinion. And I'm kind of hearing that from a lot of people too, is just, like when Tiger, at least, I mean, I'm using Tiger, but like if Tiger was up by 10 or something, you still were kind of like fired up. You wanted to watch it. And you even see that a little bit with when Rory had that big win in the U.S. Open, what was it, like probably like 8 years ago now or something, but you kind of wanted him to continue to step on the gas. With Brooks, you kind of just, I don't know. So you got a lot of dynamics. Tiger coming back and playing better and winning this last year in the Masters, which was incredible. So I think golf's in a great place. You got a lot of people who, make the sport interesting and different. You got a lot of talent coming up. I mean, the rookies this year were awesome. So I think we've got a bright future in golf and a lot of fun things to look forward to. And a lot of different swings, too. I mean, there's so many different swings and different things out there today that kind of just showcases, hey, just swing your swing, do your thing, and, play your game, which is cool. I think that's a good message for a lot of the youth coming up and just to stick with it. So I think we're in a good place. I'm excited for the future of golf.
So what's next for you? What's next for PGA Memes? What's next for, everything else you're doing as far as this social media and your empire that you've built?
Just the series, like I'm really excited about it. DB, you said something earlier about like everyone's trying to jump on the podcast train. You guys have been doing it for quite some time and have your niche and doing a great job of it, obviously. And there's a lot of people who, do well at it too, but there's a lot of them out there that are just, they're up there for a minute and then they go away, right? And so I by no means wanted to try to step into that territory. I don't think that's for me. But I wanted to try to do this series to bring, a different dynamic to the page and hopefully get some talent, whether that be a variety of golfers or celebrities or, maybe even pro athletes in other sports that love golf, because there's tons of NFL players that I've become friends with and some NBA guys that love golf. They're your 10 handicap, 15 handicap. Let's get them out on the course. And I'm not going to make it about golf, even though we'll probably just have a lot of the cameras in the golf cart and stuff. I don't want it to be about your game and what you shot and all this stuff. I want it just to be kind of keep the edge of the page, but bring it to life and ask some fun questions, push the boundaries a little bit. And let's get to know some of these people in a different light. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people who are super interested in being a part of that. So I'm excited to bring it to life and do it the right way. And so I think that I guess it kind of just legitimizes the page a little bit more, and hopefully, people don't know who runs the page, right? They could assume that it's a 14-year-old, that lives in his mom's house, the basement, right, running the page. That's what Lee Westwood told me, that I had a little penis and lived in my mom's basement. So, he's another player that I forgot to mention. He did not like a meme that I made about him. So, but
wait a minute.
Yeah, so it's just legitimizing the page a little bit, but kind of showcasing some of these golfers and other people in a different life that I'm excited about.
Josh Kistler said, "What's next for Pat? The floor, because he thinks you're hammered." Pat.
The bed would be more likely.
Okay, you said something there that I wanted to follow up on real quick before we let you go. And now I can't remember. Shit. can't remember. So the YouTube, this is going to be on YouTube. Like, you're going to be playing golf with these folks, right?
Yeah, so the show's gonna be called On the Tee, and I'm, depending on who wants to do what, right? Like if a player doesn't want to play golf, I'm completely fine with that. If we want to sit down somewhere, we want to even just go shoot the shit at a driving range or something like that, like whatever they're comfortable with. But ideally, it'd be fun to put up a couple GoPros in a golf cart, and go play like 6 holes or something like that, and I wouldn't really even use any of the footage on the course. It'd be more of the banter back and forth in the golf cart or on the range. And then maybe we do like a closest to the pin competition or something like that, just to kind of keep it fun. But it's not going to be about golf, what you scored or who's better. It's just going to be about that person and just talking about, what's going on in the world of golf or their life, or, something juicy to make it interesting. But it's definitely going to be fun. So
is this full time for you, Travis? Is that going to be full time for you? How many hours you put into this?
Not that many. I plan really well for it. So it hasn't been too crazy, but man, I'd love for it to be. I love, like you guys, Pat saying, got to meet a lot of cool people, and that's the same for me. This is something that I'm like passionate about, is just working with people, but also golf. And, I love marketing, and I like just branding, and I like just, entrepreneurship. So I think, building it out and doing some fun stuff with it. Definitely would love to take it full time, but definitely not to that point. But yeah, I got to keep the J job and keep grinding. So, but I like the grind. I like pushing myself and going from there.
Awesome, Travis. Well, thank you for the time. If people are not already following at PGA Memes on Instagram, as well as at Sir Hissalot, which is the fake snake account that you talked about that got you started. That is hilarious. There he is. How many of those have you sold?
Quite a bit. So I launched it a couple years ago, and then I went dormant on it for about a year, just focusing on this memes page. But I launched it yesterday. We sold like 100 our first day, just on the relaunch. So it's a great prank. I mean, honestly, it's one of the funniest.
Great. I love watching the videos.
I have been. It's happened to me. So yeah.
Has it really? Oh.
It's not happened to me yet.
Sorry
but I'm
about
sure.
that.
Remember Travis Fulton did it, David, to me when we played together that time. Yeah.
That's right.
Travis Fulton is a dick. He did a video of me. I sent him my swing as a joke, and he put it next to Ricky Fowler doing his left-handed swing. And he's like, when Ricky's left-handed swing is better than your righty. I was like, it's true, though. Those guys, and their lefty swings are pure.
They're good. Travis is a good dude.
awesome.
And also, you've got the new page, Hack Patrol, right? Isn't that you?
Right, yep.
At Hack Patrol. So it's at PGA Memes, at Sir Hissalot, and at Hack Patrol. We probably have a lot of listeners that need to send you videos for Hack Patrol.
My plan to monetize Hack Patrol is to get Travis to be the premier coach or swing instructor, to where he can give some of these hacks some lessons virtually. So
you would do a good job with that.
He would.
Tell him to
pony.
Yeah.
We would. Yeah, we've tried to get him to give lessons to us, and unless you pay Travis, you're not getting it. So, he's about that cash. All right, Travis, thank you, man. We appreciate you being on the Tour Junkies YouTube page, podcast. This has been a good time, man, and we wish you the best of luck, and keep doing what you're doing, and just keep pissing people off on Instagram.
Hey, thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate it. Good luck to you guys, too.
Thanks, man.
All right, see you guys.
Tour Junkies.